Well, hello everyone, I am Fracture and this is Let's Play Two Worlds 2 on the PC. I've skipped over the intro. If you want to see that, you can just go and find it. I'm sure somebody else on YouTube has bothered to record the whole intro. The story so far basically is insert bad guy here is doing insert evil thing here to your sister and you have to rescue her. And I've decided I'm going to play an archer. I have a mage going and it's doing very well actually. But I think I'm going to try archer. Now archer has some pretty big flaws gameplay wise and I'll show you what those are as we go. But I'm going to see if I can work around them. And I think I'm going to go ahead and buy some nomad armor. Well, perhaps not. I don't have a lot of cash yet. Let's see, 7. Yeah, okay. So we'll hold. Oh, well, let's sell this as well. Let's see. What are these going to sell for? Okay, let's sell that. Buy that. Buy the hat. And the rest, I guess, we've got to keep. That will do for now. Okay, so there is a crafting component here, and I'm going to go ahead and use it just to show you what's going on. So you can craft or dismantle, and I'll do that again with a little more. Oh, I guess I'm out of crafting components. When you pick up new items, like say I pick up a bow I don't need and don't want to sell, I can dismantle it, and it will break it down into its constituent components, which then you can use to craft or upgrade items. So, as I said, I've decided that I'm going to be an archer, be that good or bad. Let's go ahead and equip my archery. Now, one thing I should mention while I'm in here, although you do have quivers, they add attributes to your archery skill, but it, as far as I can tell, unlimited ammo, so you're not hunting around for arrows and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and use some of our skill points. I played the start through but didn't spend any of my skill points so that I'd have a nice opening starting character that I could try repeatedly in different flavors, which is what this guy is. So I'm just going to go to sort of the starting zone. No, I'm not. That's not the starting zone. And neither's that. I'm in the wrong area. Let's see, where are we? Here we go. Wrong room. So basically what's happened here, I'll let him chat. Okay, he's got nothing to say. Alright. Well, let's there we go.
Ready to get on your way?
The Prophet seems to think so.
Interesting. Let's hope she knows what she's doing.
I'd like to think so.
Unfounded confidence. Fascinating human trait. One that often leads to failure and defeat, yet a defining attribute throughout the history of your race.
Whatever you say.
I suppose. At any rate, our teleport was damaged during your rescue. It's close to operational, but has been a bit temperamental with regards to long-distance travel. I'm afraid the risk is too substantial in its current state.
Risk?
Of course. The teleports require a stabilizing stone to accurately direct the current, but ours went missing during my repairs. I suspect the Groms, but I have nothing but intuition to go on. If we are to get you on your way, I'll need that stone.
Doesn't sound like I have much of a choice.
Unfortunately, no.
No better time than the present.
Indeed. I will wait here until your return.
Okay, so there's our first, at least for this video, experience with the voice acting. Actually, that's some of the better voice acting. It's definitely variable in this game. There's some pretty awful voice acting, and the volume of the voice acting goes all over the place too. Okay, those of you that watched my sort of introduction probably saw this already, but let's go ahead and open some of these chests. Here's the lock-picking minigame. You click the button each time you pass a gap, basically. So click, 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 and once it reaches the top, you've opened it. Now, at this level, it seems like pretty lame, but I found it to be one of the better lock-picking games. The way they make it more difficult is, of course, more rings with gaps. So you may find a difficult lock with 5 rings, and each time you click the gap to go to the next level, the lockpick speeds up as it goes around the circle. So it gets faster and faster as you go towards the center, and it's actually quite challenging. So it's well done. So the meat that I just picked up a couple of sausages there, are used in alchemy, and we'll get to that. I think what my character is going to be, though, is primarily an archer with metallurgy skills so that he can improve his own armor. Let's take a moment to upgrade my character. Now, I found with my mage that keeping your endurance at approximately your level seems to work well for me. The idea with a mage and an archer is not to get hit anyway. So for the first couple of levels, we're not going to put any points. Strength is for melee damage, which is pointless for an archer. And of course, willpower is for a mage, which is pointless for an archer. So that makes it easy. I put all of my attribute points into accuracy for now, which increases my range damage. I won't be putting any skill points into warrior skills or into mage skills, though I may put some into, what do they call it, crafting skills to let me improve my armor and maybe pick up alchemy, although you can also gain points by finding books, so I may not have to actually spend skill points. And general skills are also useful. Resilience regenerates health, and in the early game, that's actually quite useful. Basically, when you sheath your weapon, your health regenerates quite quickly in the early game. Later on, it becomes less and less useful, I guess, unless you really pile the points into it. Then we have the typical elemental resistance, poison resistance, physical resistance, so from weapons. And then stamina is, as far as I can tell, just running speed for how long can you sprint for. So I've played quite a long time as mage, and have put no additional points into this and not found any sort of problem with that. So the two things that I can apply skill points to at the moment seem like good skills, but they're really, I found them not to be as good as they could be because of sort of poor gameplay choices and the way the game works. Multi-arrow is quite good. Basically, if you fire 2 arrows, they fire out in front of you in a fan. Up to, one would guess, 10 arrows, if this is, each skill point gives you another arrow. That would seem really good, but that generally would miss most arrows, so this actually becomes useful in close range combat. When somebody's standing right in front of you, if you hit them with 5 arrows, you can take them out pretty fast, so it's sort of a shotgun approach. This steady hand allows you to pre-mark targets in sniper mode, and I'll show you that because I do have a free skill point in it. And it's not as good as it seems. What I found is if you say mark 3 targets, and you have you need 3 multi-arrows here, I believe. You mark 3 targets. Yeah, there you go. So to get 3 targets, you need a certain number of points in multi-arrow, so these are tied together. Basically, you draw your bow, then you enter sniper mode, which is zoom in. Then you right-click on each target that you want to be hit with an arrow. Then you release your bow, and it fires targets. It fires an arrow at each target. Sounds really cool. Unfortunately, to line up multiple targets in that sort of small fan where your arrows can hit, that doesn't happen very often in the game. Excuse me, about to cough again. That doesn't happen very often in the game. Usually targets are behind stuff, trees, behind bricks, that sort of thing. And really what I found I did, at least in the early game, is you now have 3 guys running at you instead of just perhaps 1. So unless you kill them outright with this, that's not as good as it seems. So at the moment, I'm not going to spend any of my skill points, I guess is what all that rambling's getting at. I'm just going to hold off. I might find that adding 1 more arrow to multi-arrow is useful for close-up work. But other than that, we'll leave it out. Now I suppose I could switch weapons. It does have a good weapon and armor switching option. So you could mix warrior or mage skills, or perhaps assassin skills with ranger. But I'm going to try and play pure ranger and see what happens. So we're coming up on the first quest. That's what that green circle is. And here's an example of why multi-shot isn't the greatest. I'm going to draw my weapon, draw back my bow, zoom in, and apparently there are some guys waiting to be shot over here. If I'm in the location I think I am. Yeah, here we go. I see them on the mini-map. Yeah, there we go. So I could use multi-shot, mark him, and try and mark the guy behind him, but already you see a limitation there. And now he's coming to attack me, so I just have to fight him, or I'm toast. So what I'm going to do here is sprint away and try to get another shot off at the guys. There we go.
Good.
Yeah!
And lucky crappy AI there saved the day. So now you see my health isn't regenerating, but if I sheath my bow, I guess, or put it on my back there, now my health starts to regenerate. So you may not have noticed, but I actually solved that quest. He was carrying the component the guy asked me to retrieve. So I was trying to describe things there, and that was a pretty sloppy fight, but usually what happens is you fire an arrow, then you sprint away, fire a few more, and it actually runs quite smoothly. I was trying to mess around with multi-shot, and I think it probably showed the limitations I was referring to. And that is highlighted because I can pick it up for alchemy.
What's
and you
this?
just hit the space bar for that. So as soon as you see that crosshairs, means you're close enough. And there I still have double arrows turned on, 1 hit and 1 missed, so I'm just... There we go. So generally I don't use multi-arrow. I find it not that useful. And just from playing this before, I know there is a guy over there.
Bet you're glad you met me.
Now, one of the other limitations that's really, really frustrating with this game and archery is, I don't know if you noticed, but it tracks the target. Sounds good, and you can turn it off if you prefer to do your own targeting, but even if you turn it off, when the target is close enough that their name shows up, it automatically starts tracking. Unfortunately, it's tracking dead on the target, so any target that is walking perpendicular to you is impossible to hit. I'm not kidding. You can sometimes lead it a little bit, but it's really hard to lead. So essentially, unless the target's heading straight towards you, stopped, or heading straight away from you, you're not going to be able to hit it with a bow and arrow. Not kidding. It's actually... how that ever got through playtesting, I don't know. I'm just gonna... really, there's nothing for it but to live with it, so... Now there is a time limit on this lockpick, and I've done it enough that I never come anywhere close to running out of time. But as you hear the scraping sound as the lockpick is moving its way around the ring, that's using up time. It's actually wearing out your lockpick. And if you miss one of the gaps which is more likely to happen when there's more rings. It doesn't stop the lockpick game. What happens is your lockpick jumps out of the current gap that you're in and you have to catch it again. And now you're starting to run out of time. It actually is quite a good mini game. It's one of the better, and that's a better Traveler's Hat than the one I spent my money on. This one, it's a wash. The pants are a wash. Let's see. But they're Nomad. They go with the sort of the kit that I'm working for. So really all I need is Nomad boots and I'm set. Okay, so I could really return to that quest